In the next hour, 3 stories with evidence of the paranormal will be subjected to scientific testing. Only one will be judged proof positive. The images you are seeing are a phenomenon known as rods. Are they bugs or a previously undiscovered life form? Many people are convinced that this abandoned lighthouse is haunted by the spirit of its former caretaker. Police Captain Robert Snow claims he is the reincarnation of a 19th century painter, and that he has the evidence to prove it. Will that evidence stand up to our test? 3 remarkable stories of the paranormal. Only one will be verified by scientific investigation. At the end of the show, you'll find out which case will test proof positive. They're known as rods. They defy classification. Not everyone can see them, but those who have are convinced that rods are an unidentified flying life form. The proof? Dozens of videotapes shot all over the world.
They're anywhere from 4 inches in length to possibly 100 or more feet in length.
At first I thought maybe it was another aircraft in the air.
Given that they might be real, what are they? The skeptics are saying that these are bugs.
The origins, we have no idea where they're from, but they are here, okay? And this has to be checked out.
Jose Escamilla is the man credited with the first documented sighting of a rod.
The skeptics came right out. They said, I'm a computer graphics expert. And so, the first thing they were doing is trying to accuse me of hoaxing it on computer systems, which is not true. These things are definitely a living entity of some kind.
It was Escamilla who dubbed the swift-moving objects rods, and his obsession to identify this strange creature led him to one of the most remote places on Earth. The Cave of the Swallows in Aquismon, Mexico.
The Cave of the Swallows came to my attention back in 1995. I had a tape of a stunt jump. So I'm looking at this skydiver jumping into this cave pit, and I see these zips going by, these rods. So I contacted the producers, and sure enough, there's rod activity there.
It was here that someone captured on film what Escamilla calls the most amazing shot of a rod ever taken.
Cameraman was standing here, and a rod flies in right over his right shoulder. What's unique about that is you can actually see the torso of the object bend, and you can see the undulatory wave fin, so you know doggone well that this thing is huge because it curves. And you don't get blurred insects going away from the camera. That only happens left to right.
The fact that these rods kind of maneuver and fly around and change direction, especially the ones with the ribs on the side, kind of indicates to me that this is some kind of life form that maybe we haven't heard before.
Escamilla's search for information about rods set off a buzz of excitement in paranormal circles, prompting dozens of people to send him videos that seem to show the same bizarre phenomenon.
By getting other people all over the world to start filming these things, it eliminates my hoaxing it.
One of the more recent videos was taken by Serena Addison of Pasadena, California.
It was a sunny day here in Pasadena. I was on the patio and I was filming various guests that were celebrating my Uncle Jerry's birthday party.
What a great surprise.
I was just kind of standing by, filming it all, taking it all in. Just watching everything through the lens, and I didn't notice anything unusual.
That comes later, when Serena's husband Larry, a television producer, sits down to screen the footage.
I took the tape and just viewed it, viewed it a few times to kind of get an idea of how I was going to edit it together, what kind of music I'd put to it. And there were just a couple of scenes where things are flying through view.
He called me in and said, "Serena, look at this." And he showed some of the footage and then said, "Now look at this again." When he slowed it down, you could clearly see these little things showing up on the film.
That's often the case with rods. They're rarely visible when viewing the videotape at normal speed. But when the video is slowed down, what first seemed to be an insect now appears as a rod. The same holds true if the camera's focal point is changed or the shutter speed is increased when filming.
While I was shooting, I never saw anybody do this.
The more that I looked at it, the more I would find. I'd see one fly by in, like a 20-second stretch, and then I'd go all the way back and watch it in slow motion, frame by frame.
Even if we view all of the footage, you'll never see anybody pass their hand in front of their face, shooing anything away.
I count to like upwards 70, 80 of them. So I'm like, just rubbing my eyes going, okay. Some were just like...
Larry Addison had felt this way once before. It was 1 year earlier while he was taping a friend's performance at an air show.
When he's coming down towards the camera, I just have the camera locked off on him, and I saw something fly by behind him. I didn't know what it was at the time.
It isn't until later, when reviewing the tape, that Larry recalls the strange object.
At first I thought maybe it was another aircraft in the air, but I know that during air shows, during a performance of any airplane that's in the air, there's a restricted airspace, so there's not supposed to be anything in the air either.
Despite the size difference, Addison begins to believe that the bizarre flying objects he and his wife caught on tape are related. His research leads him to Jose Escamilla.
He sent me this tape, and man, he's got rod activity there. There was no insects there, and here these things are zipping by real fast.
After documenting at least 180 cases worldwide, it was Escamilla who came up with the startling theory that rods are a highly evolved, previously undetected life form.
The computer model that we have here is a rendition of what we feel is their proposed method. They appear to have what looks like a membrane along both sides of the torso, much like a cuttlefish or a squid. So when the sunlight hits it a certain way, it appears like it's a little wing. We always thought that they use these to swim through the air, because they don't fly through the air, they swim. These things in the sky, they're able to do maneuvers unlike anything you've ever seen.
I was very impressed by his scientific methodology. From what I've seen, he's ruled out bugs and birds and any other explanation, and to me that just leaves something that's unexplained.
So what exactly are rods? Bugs, as some skeptics would claim, or undiscovered creatures? To find out, we will subject the most dramatic rod footage to intense scrutiny by a renowned forensic video analyst.
They do appear to be what people describe as rods. It's interesting that nobody ever sees a rod until it's photographed.
Perhaps his conclusions will finally put the controversy to rest.
We don't know where they come from, we don't know what they're doing here, but they are here.
Or perhaps the mysterious rods will turn out to be proof positive. Ordinarily, there'd be nothing unusual about a light shining from a lighthouse tower, except that the old Presqu'île Lighthouse in Michigan hasn't been operational for years. It's called the Ghost Light, and every image of it you're about to see is real.
It's been on many, many times. Many people have seen it. I've actually witnessed it myself and can't explain why it's on.
There is no power in this tower that would provide light for this lens. The lens is by itself, it's standing alone. The only way that light can get into the lens is either by a reflection or by unusual powers.
like the power of a dead man's spirit, reaching out from beyond the grave. According to Lorraine Paris, the source of the ghost light is her beloved late husband, George.
He could be anywhere. George could be anywhere in this lighthouse. A lot of people have said they have seen him.
The story behind it is that George was a kindly